second, and it's cruising along with no problem. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so that's that guy. I'll have a look at this guy. This guy is really special. I love the look of this guy because it's very book matched. So we'll have a look at this guy. Leslie, what's going on? Good to see you. It's Poplar, Poplar, I think. Ah, lovely grain. Beautiful, beautiful grain. Very, very much would make a lovely natural guitar finish. That's buttery. That's beautiful. I'm thinking of making a butterscotch blonde Telecaster with a black guard, an old black guard. That's the classic Telly. We'll think about it and see how she turns out. There's a lot of ideas I have with these two pieces here. That one's really nice. That would make a really nice butterscotch Telly as well. But you can see the color on there. I'll just flip that over. Get a little bit of variation. There's a little bit of green and a couple of little knots and things going through there. Popular Poplar. That's right. Butterscotch. Not the kind that you like, Karen, but you get my drift. You get my rear wheel drift, as they say. It's beautiful. It's such a beautiful silky girl. That's just really really pretty. That's I just want to sit there and just put my head down on it and just go to sleep on it. It's pretty. Exactly, Karen. Come on, you've got to be kidding me. Gatto, how's it going? Make an Esquire with a ghost pickup. I'll tell you what, Gatto, that's not a bad idea. That would probably suit these pieces here. Would probably suit something like that. I would also, yeah, I'd like that ashtray, that covered ashtray look and feel. That would be pretty cool. Hey, Seth Brewster, what's going on? What are you making? Nothing at the moment. We're making a lot of things actually, but we're not using these at the moment. I just received these body blanks. They're Poplar, and we're just checking them out. We're thinking maybe butterscotch Telecaster, maybe an Esquire, a no-caster, something like that for one of them, and the other one probably a little bit of a hybrid. Probably grab my G6 shape, which is this guy here. So we've got a telly on one of those, but I'm thinking something like that as well would work really well. Just leave the grain and just oil it and just have some nice black hardware on it or something like that, and beveled edges, and it would look pretty cool. Looking at CBG flat pickups, I'm ready to wire some nonsense. Excellent, Gatto. That's good to hear, man. I hope you get stuck into that. You got a package today, Karen. Did you open it? Did you open the package? Was it in one piece? I'm sorry, I haven't been at my desk and I haven't been on the computer, so I opened it. And one piece. And beautiful. Oh, good. Okay. As long as you enjoy, as long as you like it. It's a little bit of Victorian ash or Tasmanian oak. They're very similar. There's three types there's mountain ash, Victorian ash, and Tasmanian oak. Very, very similar. Same species, slightly, or same genre, slightly different, little touches in the families. You're excited. Excellent. It's good to be excited. Greggles is in the house. Orby, what's going on? This is some Poplar that just arrived, Greg, for a couple of body blanks. They're already been glued up for me. They're two pieces. Very, very good job. He's done them, book matching those. So they'd make a couple of good. I'm thinking maybe butterscotch, classic telly, 50s telly, maybe even an Esquire or a no-caster. We'll see. But one of them's going to do that for sure, I reckon. Is it humanly possible to build a base with 45 to 50 inch scale? Geez, I'll tell you what, Seth, you must be a massive man, but I'll tell you, if it's possible, yeah, I think it is. I think it's called an upright. You probably have played an upright. You've got a big upright double bass. That's what we're talking about there. So thanks very much for the follow too. I really appreciate you being here. My name's Manny, by the way, Manny, and I'm in Sydney, Australia. Poplar looks like that. Yes, Gatto, according to... Now, I have got oil on it. It's a lot lighter than that. There's a little bit of, not oil, a little bit of mineral turpentine on there, just some spirits, just to bring out the grain so we can have a look at that. But it's a lot lighter than that. It's very buttery. It's more like that. It's very ash looking and very maple looking. It's very light. But yeah, the grain is amazing. Now, what we call poplar here may not be what you consider poplar in the States or in your part of the world. So whilst we call it poplar, it might be different to... It looks like ash to me. It looks like a swamp ash or some kind of an ash or an oak or something like that. But yeah, you better get out the fret calculator software. Absolutely. Yeah, 45 to 50 inch scale. I mean, we're talking upright there, right? It is possible. Is it possible to reach the first fret? And when you're holding that thing, that's what I want to know. But yeah, of course it's possible. Just got to know where to put the frets and how many to put in and how big to make them. But I don't know. 40 to 50 sounds like an upright to me, and a fretless at that. I'd say a fretless bass is probably the go if you're going to go 40 to 50. Greg, tell me your thoughts on that, mate. 45 to 50 inch scale bass. Would you go fretless? I dare say you would. Okay, so we've got that stuff there. Let's pop these away. Let's pop those away and see where we're up to with the other guy. Pop these just down here. Nice big solid chunky pieces of about 6 or 7 pounds each, so they're nice and thick and nice and chunky. But yeah. Okay. So we've got some paint. Okay, we've got some acrylic colours because we've got to finish those fish guys, right? So let me just flick over back to the bench. So we've got these acrylic paints here. We've got our giveaway. That's Queensland Maple on this side. We've got Australian Rosewood Cap, and we've got Special Elvis and Vavoom, Sassafras, Percy, and Janice. And those guys are just dancing around on this. This guy's going to be a giveaway. We're just putting a little bit of artwork inspired by Willie Won't Go and her pond. And we're going to use these colours here. Now, Vavoom is pretty much a cream colour with lots of black dots. Sassafras, I believe, and Percy are mainly orange or red with some white markings, and he's obviously got a white head with that red spot, which I forgot what the proper name for that is. Oh, little fishies, don't cry. They'll be fine. So we're not going to do that now, though, because I don't want to paint. So that's the reason, because I don't want to paint. What we do want to do is look at our commission piece that we're working on. So here's the neck. Okay, so there's our neck. That's good to go. We've got our flamed maple neck. That's pretty much fitted now. We did our body. We've carved out that guy there. We've got the carve ready to go there. So that's our shape. And we've got all the contours ready. And the neck goes in there like that. So that's pretty much good to go. What I do need to do, ladies and germs, is we need to cut out the battery cavity at the back before I carve this. Reason being is if I carve this and we have no flat surface, it's going to be a hell of a thing trying to keep this on the level like that while we try and put a battery box in here, right? So we're going to put our battery box right in there, and we're going to leave that flat until we do that. Okay, so a couple of these little things have chipped here, these sides, so we're going to probably shave all that off and I'm not going to screw it down. I'm going to use magnetic metal strips and magnets on the back of the lid. So the lid's going to actually magnetically be held into place, and it's going to be screwless. Okay, so I'm going to straighten those guys up, and we're going to use screwless, and we're going to just have a couple of magnetic strips and a magnetic back on that cover, and it's going to be stuck down with magnetic, so you can just lift off and stick back on like a fridge magnet material. 12th fret, 45 scale is 22.5. Yep, pretty much. That's a big neck for Bumstead. Strings, Orby, you'd have to get them custom made. Like, I mean, they're probably going to be catgut, and you're going to have to make it an upright. That's what I'd be doing. Yeah, 5 foot base, 3 or more pickups. Yeah, you'd probably go for I'd definitely put like a couple of Jazz and a couple of Ps. Tie 2 of them together. Ha! Bumstead. You could probably do that too. Yeah, 1 precision, 1 Jazz, 1 Music Man style. That would work, or a couple of precisions, just to get a bit of variety there, a bit of punch. But yeah, it would work. Frugal Fixer, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Okay, let's work out this battery pack, where that's going to go. So I'm obviously going to move these things out of the way. All right, I'm going to put this guy. So what we need to do is we're going to get that battery pack, mark that guy out, and see how that goes. It is a flush fit, so that should fit nice and flush. It's actually proud of the surface. It's got about an 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters of lip around there. We just want that to sit in there nicely. So basically we're going to measure that and cut a hole to sit that in there, to sit this guy basically in there. This is the part that concerns us, the actual battery box, not the rim that holds the box in place, okay? So we've got to get the battery box, but not the rim. We'll measure that guy up and write some specs down here, and we'll get onto that straight away. Okay, so let's measure this guy up. We've got looks like 33 millimeters, give or take 1/2 a millimeter. It's exactly 1.5 inches in the old scale, or in the imperial scale, I should say, or in the American scale. Let's have a look at the length. 1.5 inches by 2.25. 1.5 by 2.25. 33 by 56. That should do it. 33 by 56, or 1.5 by, what did I say, 2.25? Two and a quarter exactly. Yep. Okay, so we've got a big beam through there, so anywhere along here, I'm going to make it sit pretty much parallel with this guy. I want it sort of lined up. We'll go 17 on either side, 34 millimeter wide. It doesn't matter because it is going to sit in there and then be bolted down, so it's not a big deal. And the depth of this guy is pretty much 3/4 of an inch deep. Perfect. We're going to go to say, we'll go an inch because we want to allow a little bit for cable and wires to come in and out of there. We'll go an inch deep. That's fine. Okay. Whew. JB's in the house. How you doing, JB? Greetings to you, my friend. Great to see you here. Frugal Fixer did your first stream. Congratulations, buddy. That's awesome. I'm glad you did. That's very, very good. Hazard's in the house too. How you doing? Hazard 6, good to see you, man. That's awesome, man. That's really, really good. No crashes, and it went for a little over an hour. Frugal, that's very, very good, man. Okay, there's our little battery box. We're going to fit this guy in there. Okay, we're going to sit him in there like that. And that's going to be out of the way. So I'm going to grab my drills. We're going to core that guy out. We're going to chisel that clean, and we're going to stick that guy bingo in there. So let's do that. We'll grab our Forstners. That guy's pretty much perfect. The 30 mil. Three-quarters of an inch depth. We're going to go an inch. We're going to allow a 1/4 inch just for some wiring and some little bit of space there. We'll go down an inch. That's right about on that second line, which I've marked. I'll move you over to this side here. Good piece of masonite that's going to be used for some templates or something. That's very good stuff. Safety gear, Terry. Oh my God, you're into it already. Huh. And you're dead right. Of course you're right. Terry's always right, ladies and gentlemen. It's her lot in life to be correct. Most of the time, she nails it. Most of the time. If not all the time. Just going to move this guy over. And I'll swing you guys around to this bench. Like so. This little workmate, and we'll do the drilling on there. And we'll get some safety gear on for Terry's benefit. Well, actually, it's for my benefit, but Terry, I appreciate that. I'm going to put some goggles on. I don't need anything else. There's no dust coming up. I will put these on in case something flies into my eyes. Okay. Clamps! Terry, clamps! One clamp is enough. Let's get this battery box cut out. Way to go yet. Perfect mundi, just about. That's an inch exactly. So another hole just in here. Grab a vacuum, clean all that out. It's pretty sticky in there. That's about an inch there, so that's pretty close to where we want the mark. And yeah, that's right. So that's our inch depth. We need to just now tidy up those ends there. So I'm going to grab a chisel. I'm going to grab my little mallet and I'm going to just clean up that little cavity, and we're going to do a test fit on that guy and see what that looks like. See what goodness looks like. There. Okay, we're nearly there. Just a couple of little square pieces in the corner here. Okay, I think we're good there. Very tight because I did it exactly at exactly the size that I needed it to be. I'm just going to make that a little bit wider, just a little bit, shave a little bit off here. It should just open it up for us. Very tight, very precise fit. You need to just get that guy a little bit wider, a bit longer, I should say. Clean some of that out. just about there. A little bit thick down the bottom there. It's going to clear the bottom out. Ooh. Yeah. Sticking. Aha, okay. I see the problem. There is a little lip there. Okay, that's easy. We just got to drill a hole. Just need a small. Drill. Let's grab a little drill and just do a couple of little strategic holes. Right near the edge there. With a little tab that we flick and open up the battery box. There's a little tab that we flick up that's got to sit in a little recess. Like so. a little bit wider just on this side. There we go. Like a ball one. Okay, so that's the battery box fitted. And we'll mark the holes for the screws. So that just opens like so. You get to the battery. There's room underneath it for the cables. They'll run straight through into the control cavity and they'll go onto the main circuit board that controls the preamp circuitry that controls the volume and the tone and those pickups. Okay, I'm going to have a quick break while I've got that fitted in there. Take off my fish eyes, my Google goggles. Let's have a quick drink. Catch up with the chat. What are you guys up to? Look at the sunset. DJ Rock and Ride. You guys, welcome on in. Great to have you here. Mr. Blackstone, how you doing? Good to see you as well. Willie won't go. How you doing, Willie? Good to see you. Cheers, big ears. Welcome to the show. Okay, so there's our battery. There's our battery box. Straight bang down in the middle there. We can close that guy up. The battery goes in there. It's sitting just a little bit proud of the. There's a little lip that it sits up on. That's fine. That's how it is. And that will go on the back of the guitar. Of course, we've got a cover that goes on here, and that's pretty much ready to wire up. But first, we've got to work on getting this carve done. So I'm just going to mark the holes out with some tiny little, a little tiny drill bit, a 1mm drill bit, just to mark them where they're going to go. Pre-drill this, and then we can drive them home when we're ready. It's neat. Thank you, Leslie. It is neat. I took my time, as you noticed, as you may have noticed. I took my time to make it nice and neat. I think it's important to be neat. If we flick over here, you'll see how neat it actually is. So we've got our little, roll that guy up, and there's our neat little hole. There's our little recess there. Take our little, that little tab sits in there. That's a neat little hole. I'll clean that up. Obviously, there's a little bit of sawdust and what have you in there. We'll clean that guy out. A little bit of dirt in that corner there. So just neaten that up a little bit more. Like so. Alright, so that's as neat as we want it. And that will take that little battery box nicely. There we go. Beautifully done. So that's going to sit in there. Okay. It was made with love. I don't know about that. I was careful not to destroy it, that's all, because Queensland maple cuts really well one way with the grain, but across the grain it's quite fibrous and quite prone to splitting if you hit it the wrong way. But anyway, guys and girls, we're at the stage where we need to start thinking about the carve. Now, of course, we're going to have a route all the way down the bottom first, 2mm in to get that routing channel done, right? We've got to route that channel in there, right? Before we prime this and get it sprayed. We've got to have to route that channel first, then we're going to start with the carve. So I'm going to set this up, get the router on there, and get that channel done so we can fit that binding. Now I'll grab the binding, and we want to get it pretty much exactly the thickness of the binding. If it's a little bit deeper, that's fine too, because we can sand that excessive. When we clean this guy up, we've got to sand a little bit off this because you can see some stains there from glue runs and some filler and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand that guy. So what we're going to do is try and get that cavity. And when I say cavity, even though this guy is going all the way down to there, we're not going to drill that part. We're actually going to go all the way from the top to that join line at that depth. So the actual cavity for this guy is going to be all the way down this whole thickness, this whole half or 3/4 of an inch is going to be taken off down at that thickness, which is about 2 mil. I'll grab the calipers and just double check that binding, see what we've got there for the binding. It's up there. Let's get that caliper over there. I think it's about 2 mil. It might be a 2.1 or something. I think they're 0.6. Maybe it's 1.8. Let's clear that and see what we got. 1.6. Roughly, give or take. 1.6. Okay. 1.6. So that's pretty fine, right? But that's okay because we're going to use this as the basis of adjusting our router components. So we'll grab the router and we'll set this guy up. Let's get some of this stuff away. Let's move that bench up. Let's clear some of this crap. Put these paints away. We've got new acrylic paints here. Willie will be happy to see there's lots of acrylic paint here. We're going to finish those fishies with that. Sanding. Not the little baby guys yet. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're going to get the little baby guys, but it's a combination of little guys. So we're going to grab the router. We're not going to use the little baby router. We're going to use the big long router. We're going to use this guy. Okay. So we're definitely going to go pretty much all the way to there. We're going to route the whole of that length there. Whoops. The whole of that length there. We're going to route all the way down to the join line. All the way down to the join line. But we're only going in 1.6 mil. There's a very fine shave just to fit that binding in flush. Once the binding's in there flush, we can then, and we know it's going to fit, we can then carve. We're going to carve before we put the binding in, of course. But we want to get the binding channel cut before we do the main carve. So we're going to use this guy here. I'm just going to adjust the height of this guy. It's got to go all the way down. I need the longer bit. And I also need to put the binding channel guide on there as well, the trim guide. So we're going to just mix that up. Let me grab another router bit. For those of you that didn't see the poplar from before, there's some new body blanks that have arrived. This guy here, that's a poplar, and that's a body blank for a telly. And there's another one right here. Another poplar. Interesting grain. Again, for another telly style or 6-string. Probably some vintage tellies out of this, like a butterscotch 50s telly or a no-caster or something like that. It's pretty, isn't it, Willie? Would make a lovely telly to match Scylla. Almost as good as Scylla. Not quite, though. Not quite. We know that Scylla's the best telly ever built in the history of tellies. Isn't that right? Huh. I jest. But no, but if you ask Willie, she'll confess that it is the best thing. And she loves her Scylla, which is good. And I'm happy because she loves her Scylla. And that's all I wanted to do, make sure that she loved her Scylla. I was playing the Caramello, the caramel chocolate telly earlier on this morning. I've got it here at home, and my God, that thing sounds good. Unbelievable that thing sounds. Not quite. Yeah, that's right. It's not quite as good as Scylla. It's close, but not quite. in a case. Is she going okay in her case? Did you get any of those satchels? Willie, did you buy any of those humidity satchels? There's a special guitar satchel that is designed to put in with your guitar in the case, and it keeps the humidity at 46%. It has the crystals to take the moisture out, but it also has those components to put the moisture back when it needs it. So I'm not sure what they're called. They're about $10 a piece. I think you can get them on Amazon. They're called guitar humidity satchels. I think Jer had some. If you watch Jerry, the other guitar tech, he had some and he told me about them. They keep the humidity at 46%. So they're, yeah, you'll find them. Absolutely you will. And they're not expensive and they're very, very good value. If you're worried about humidity and changes, that will keep it constant in the case. All right, let's get this bit off. Let's put this longer bit on. This one's going to be spot on a mundi, as they say. That's the technical term. Just tap this guy down. There you go. A little bit of a burr in there. Oh, that's good. Okay, so this guy's going to be probably the right length. Let's check that. We need to get down to that line. I'll put the hoodie on it. Okay, that's spot on. That's perfect. Okay, so that's going to be right there is what we want. Exactamundi of the mundi, as they say. That's the technical term for it. That's exactly where we want to be. Right on that join line. Lock him in. I'll double check that again. Now, this is the tricky part, right? This is the good part. We need to get this guy fitted on here. And this guy, as we said, I'll show you how this works. This guide keeps our tip from digging in too deep. So we only want to go in 1.6 millimeters to just enough depth to get that binding in flush. So by using this little tool here, get that washer back there. There we go. Like that. Lock that guy in. That bearing will stop it from going in too far. The trick here is, of course, to get the right distance from the edge of that guy. And this is how we do it. We line that guy up like so. Tighten this guy into place. Hang about, hang about. Okay, that's tight. And we can drop this guy, we can move this guy. So I loosen that. This guy moves in and out. So that, from there to there is the cutting edge. That's about 1/4 inch. So if we were to start cutting here, it'd go bzzz, boop, and it'd stop there and cut that groove. Now that groove's got to be a lot finer than that. So we've got to come the other way. Lock that down. And then we grab our binding. Double check that thickness. We take that binding to the edge and see if the blade is adjusted to only cut the binding thickness deep. So let's double check that. I'll just untie this binding and make it a little easier. It's a bit heavy duty at the moment. Okay. So we've got a triple layered. We've got a black, white, black binding that's going to go around here like so. Okay, all the way around the edges. Let's measure how far that thing's going to cut. So there's the outside edge. There's the outside edge. If we line this guy up here, it's actually going to cut too deep. So we've got to move this guy further that way. Less exposure. less exposed cutting edge. Fence that guy right up. And I might just drop this guy just a tad. Right up against the blade nearly. Just a couple of millimeters from the blade. Yeah, whoops, too far. Yeah, that's good. Check that again. Sit that over the blade. So sit that on there. You can see how deep that blade's going to cut. That's too shallow now. Just take that back a bit. And that looks about right. Just about there. Okay, it's about, yeah, it's just about there. We said 1.6. You take these calipers and measure that. It's about 1.7. That's fine. It's a tenth of a millimeter. You're not going to know the difference. Once we sand that, it's going to be flush. Plus, there's oil going over it. So we will coat that. Better to be a little bit on the upside than on the downside. Okay. And now, ladies and germs, we've pretty much locked that in. That's good to go. We'll lock that guy in. We're going to test this guy, of course, on a blank piece. We always test it. So we're going to grab a blank piece. We're going to run a test groove and see what that looks like. Let's put that binding away so we don't break it. Lock and load. Absolutely. Ka-chink. Briggs is in the house. Briggsy, what's going on? Grey Dog. Thank you very much for the gifted sub to DJ Rock and Rog. You are awesome, and thank you for the 100 bits earlier on. Great to see you in here supporting us. The Shooter's in the house. Shooter, what's going on? Honey and dogs, not a good combination. He will be licking your face forever. Ha! Yeah, that's a bit too far, Leslie. I agree. No dogs coming near my face, except Buddy, and even then, I sort of pull away because I don't like dogs spit all over me. But anyway, mind you, he doesn't lick, and he's not a dribbly dog or a drooling dog. He's pretty dry mouth. His tongue's always out. That's probably why, and it's dry like leather. Poor guy. He can't fit his tongue in his mouth. That's how bad things are. I've got a piece of Queensland maple. I'm going to test this guy just straight down there and then put the binding up against it and see what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to run a test run. We'll do a couple of test runs. Why not? Terry, get the safety gear out. We need the safety gear emotes. Let's go. Safety gear for everyone. Well, for me mainly, but yeah, you get my drift. I didn't have my Cheers Big Ears. I should do that. Welcome on into the Shooter and a Briggsy. Cheers Big Ears. King Billy, how you doing, mate? You doing well today? I hope your day is going awesome. Safety first, absolutely, Mav. That is Mav's creed, is safety first. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, Briggs. Well, fingers crossed. Okay, guys, let's get these on. And let's get the Earmuffs on. Put our gloves on. We'll do a test. We'll do a test run and just check the binding in that channel and see what that's going to look like. Okay. Organisational change. Yeah, you know, Shooter, they're going to just keep changing things to suit their whatever they're planning, and then the next guy comes in and he pisses everyone off and he changes everything again. Welcome to the corporate world. I'm so glad I'm out of that place. Anyway, but that's how it is. That's how that game works. Okay. Big Mav, let's do this. Let's get onto the bench and let's test that. Let's test that route and see what we look like. Okay, let's grab a power cord. Let's test this just down here and see how we go. Go off the edge. There's that little ledge. You can see, you might be able to see it just there. The ledge. Let's grab our binding. Get that all clean. That's perfect. Sitting in there, nice and flush. That's the perfect thickness. Okay, that's going to work. That's going to work. So we'll get started on that. The ledge is good to go. You just see it there. How far in we've gone? Not too far at all. Okay, let's put this piece away. Let's put the guitar on there. Let's put this stuff over here. I'm going to stop right there where the neck is and stop right. I'm going to double check. I'm going to have to rotate the guitar as we go. I'm going to double check the depth first. Double checking the depth. Too deep.
Right there. That's where we want it. Right there. Okay, let's do the first cut and see how we go. Start up this end. Drag this guy down. Keep this guy perpendicular to the edge, so we have to turn the router as we go. All right, let's give that a go. One more clamp. More clamps, Terry. More clamps. Big Greg's in the house. What's going on, Greg? Pretty good. That's okay. That's going anyway. That's fine. That's going to get taken off anyway when we route that all the way in, so that's fine. Put this guy down.
Okay, grabbed a little bit there, just tore a little bit out there. That's okay because that's all coming off anyway. But what it's done is it's thrown a bearing that I need to find. So I didn't see it fly off. That's why we wear the safety gear. I'm just going to try and find that for a couple of minutes. So let me just have a quick look, see where that bearing flew to. That's the problem with some of these woods is they do grab. Luckily that's only up the top, which is getting chiseled, which is getting all carved away anyway. You won't see that. If it was in the middle, you'd be in trouble. That's all going, so that's good. I'm happy with that. That's not too bad. What I need to do is I need to find that bearing that's gone. It flew off. And I need to find it because if I don't, I can't use that piece. I'm going to have a little look down here and see if I can find it. Otherwise, we're going to have to move on to something else until I replace that today later on. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look over here. Oh, here we go. Found it. Wow. Okay. That took a nice chunk out of it. It's not too good. See if I can fix that guy. That's unplugged. Not too bad, that's okay. Search, yeah, no, I found it. It's right here. It didn't go far because I've got a very confined space. It was only going to bounce off my head or the walls or something like that. Spinning a bearing like that snapped it straight off. See if I can get that in there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to route that later on. And we'll move on to painting something that I didn't want to do, but it looks like I'm going to have to. Okay, that's the end of that. So I've got another one of these units, but I've got to have to drag it out of the cupboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this guy down. We'll put this guy away. Luckily, it didn't tear out too much. There's just a little bit of tear just there. That's all going anyway because we're going to cut that guy straight into that first line. So that'll all go all the way to there. So that's luckily it didn't chip the whole corner off, but it's just a little bit of that oak, which is nice and hard. Just grabbed and bit in there and spun that bearing. So that's a good thing. At least we can get rid of most of that. And we'll continue that when I find the other bearing bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this guy away. We'll get the giveaway out. We'll paint those other guys and get them ready. And then we'll come back to this and see if I can maybe fix it, maybe get it going again. Okay. So let's make some room here and we'll get back onto here. Paint some stuff. We're going to mix some colors. I'm not going to use the plain red because we are going to oil that guy. So I'm going to mix the red with a little bit of yellow, make it a little bit orangey. Yeah, it's not too bad, Sue. It looks worse than what it is, but that's okay. Horsefly bites are nasty. They are, indeed. No, Nifty. You don't need to rasp it. I'm just going to route the sides down. You mean for the? Yeah, I've got one of those. I've got one of these cutters, these old school binding channel markers. I'm going to scribe that guy down there, and I'll probably just chisel it off. Problem is it's oak. It's pretty hard, so I need to probably rasping it will work, but it just takes a while. But I will get the bearing, and I'm going to route that out because otherwise we'll be here all year trying to rasp that, and you're not going to get a very good result unless you spend a lot of time on it. So look, it's okay. It grabbed a little bit, it chipped a little bit. It's fine. That's coming off anyway. It's not a big deal. I'm not too fussed about it. I will rasp that little section because I can't get that router in there now with that side split. I'll rust that little section. The rest of it I'll route again. Once I get that other bearing on, we'll be good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint a little bit, and that will just put that. Sometimes you just got to put the router down when it does that to you, and you think just leave it, let it sit for a while. Think about it, come back later, and adjust whatever I needed to adjust. It actually snapped the bearing shaft that holds the bearing. I've got spare bearings. I've just got to find the screw with the shaft. I found the screw, but it's actually snapped on the end. It should be okay. Now let's grab this guy. And let's finish doing what we wanted to do on this guy here. So I'll move this guy over around here. And this is the beauty of working on a couple of guitars at once. You get to, or at the same time, you get to switch and move around as you need to. And in this case, we're going to take it easy. So there's our special Elvis. He's all done. Now we've got this guy's got to be orange and white. So mainly orange with some white markings. This guy, Vavoom, is black and white. So he's got that creamy color with lots of black dots, and Sassafras, of course, is orange and white as well. So we'll start with the orange and white because there's two of those guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little palette, and I'm going to mix a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow to make a bit of a golden color, a bit of a I'll need white as well to make a cream color. So these three colors here. The beauty of primary colors is you can make pretty much anything else out of them. So red's going to be too strong, I think, if we put oil over it. So I'm going to test a couple and see how we go. It doesn't matter. This is quite fiery red, so it's not too dark. Get this little guy off here. A little bit of red on here. It's pretty close to what the fish would be like, I'd say. That's what's left of that bearing shaft. Snap that. I have got another one of those mechanisms from another router, so that's all good. Let's get this yellow on there and see if we can just dab a little bit of yellow and make this guy a little bit orangey, shall we? I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow on there. Yeah, see, it brings it out a little bit, makes it a little bit flamier, as Karen would say. That's probably the right color. Is that pretty close there, Willie? Would that be close? Mix it with yellow. Yeah, doesn't that give you orange? Red and yellow get you orange. It's not too orange. It's very reddy. It might look more orange under that light. That's too orange, I think. God, it looks different here. I tell you what, it looks really different here. Let me see the other camera. Maybe that camera's color is showing. That doesn't look that orange. It's actually quite red. Maybe my eyes are funny. Maybe I'm colorblind. Who knows? I think we're going to go with that color because once you oil it, it's going to darken up a little bit. It already looks orange, yeah. Not too orange, yeah, okay. Well, it's not too orange, but what I might do is just pop some red next to it and see what that looks like. We might just go with the red after all. Okay, so that's the red there. Might just leave it with the original red because you're probably going to tell me that there is probably closer to the mark. Okay, it's actually red, not orange. The camera's lying to you. The camera is lying to you. Coral, it's not quite coral. Yeah, it may look like that. That looks really weird. I'll just turn that light off. God, that looks really orangey, doesn't it? But it actually is red. That doesn't look like that at all. That camera is lying. So, yeah, that's the color we're going to go with because it will look different once it's on there. Believe me. Okay, we won't put the We won't put the yellow on there. We'll go with that anyway because it looks like it's orange, but it actually isn't. And I'll just wipe my hands with this stuff here. I'll grab my brush and we'll get started. Little fine guy. So Percy's orange and white, so I'm going to go primarily orange first, and I'm going to add some white to him afterwards. He's actually red. Colours lie a lot. Yeah, my eyes lie a lot too. You can actually see the difference, Willie. Really? We can touch it up. Actually, you are right. Look at that. That's the one mixed with the yellow. Leave him like that. And now the other guy is Sassafras. I believe he's the same, is he not? Sassafras. What's Sassafras look like? I think he's the same looking at the pic, if I remember the pictures correctly. He's got that big red spot on his head. I've forgotten what it's called. A Tachi, a Tamagotchi? What's it called? White with orange dots on one on her head. Okay, white with orange dots. Okay, cool. So we'll get the white onto her. Let's get that white going. And if I remember correctly, you said Vavoom was like a creamy white, an off-white. Is that right? Vavoom is weird. Yes, we know that. This is fun. Karen, I'm glad you think it's fun. Yeah, Bridge, get better. We don't like it when people aren't feeling great. So, are we talking big spots or little tiny freckles of orange and red? Willie, are we talking big spots or are we talking just tiny little dots? They're like polka dots. Okay, cool. Polka dots it is. Let's do polka dots on the little guy. I guess everywhere. Doesn't really matter. It's a representation. It doesn't have to be accurate. We're talking, are they too small? Should they be bigger? Trying to make them bigger at the back. He looks like he has chicken pox. Not pin dots, but full circles. Okay, Willie, thanks for that. Full circles. I'm going to go over again. We will fix his outlines in a minute. Okay, they're big dots. So we're going to do big dots. Okay, I get it. That's a bit better, probably. Yep. Yep, I did too. There you go. He's got chicken pox badly. Yes, full circles. That's sassafras. Beautiful. Let's tidy up those borders. And we'll go on to Vavoom. Now, did you say, I looked at Vavoom, he looks a little bit antique white, sort of off-white creamy. He's not pure white, is he? Is he pure white? It doesn't look that way. Black and white. He's mainly white with just black markings, I think, he said. No, he's beige white. Okay, cool. I'm going to mix some yellow in with some white and make a creamy sort of beige color. Okay, cool. Let's fix up Sassafras's little outline. There we go. He's nice and striking and black outlines now. He looks pretty good there. Yep, that's my version of Elvis. It's ridiculous, not hilarious, ridiculous. It's bordering on the ridiculous. Seriously. Okay, Vavoom. We've got to mix some color for Vavoom, right? We're going to make that guy beigey, right? So we're going to go beige with Vavoom. A little bit of white. A little bit of yellow. And a little bit of black. Mix those two together. It's quite creamy. It needs to be a bit darker than that, I think. It's got to go a bit darker than that, right? I don't want it to go brown. He's not brown. But he needs to go a little bit darker than that. A smidgen of black in there. Grey, I'm going to put some more yellow in there. It's not too bad, it's almost there. I think it's got to yellow up a little bit. There's more beige. Yeah, I hear you. Chillax, I hear you. I've got to try and make the colour. There's the beige coming through now. That's the colour. That's the one. Oh, yeah, that's beige, baby. It does darken. You are dead right. But it is deceptive on the camera. What you're seeing, Susie, has got nothing to do with what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it completely different under my lights, and with my bad eyes, it looks completely different. That's pretty beige. It's a taupey beige. Does it need to be darker than that? It's going to darken. I think we're going to leave it like that. He's more beige. Yep. What do you think, Willie? What do you think of that guy? Is that the beige we want? Does it need to be darker, redder, browner? That's pretty close to what I see there. And it will darken a little bit. Browner. Okay. Browner. So a little bit more red. Going to put some red in there, see if I make that. It's going to go a bit pinky, but it might go a bit browner when I mix it right through. That's a lot browner now. That's a lot browner. Is that better? Yep, that's it. Cool. Okay. It looks pretty good, actually. I like that. That looks pretty close. So his whole body is pretty much that color, and he's got specks, right? Does he have those big black patches, or has he got little freckles everywhere, like on his nose? Think of jaundiced skin color. I'll just go and have a look at myself in the mirror then. And let's get the body done. Black patches and an insanely freckled face. I got the freckled face done. Black patches. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to just go with it like that. I'm just going to go with that. That's fine. Trying to put it on thickly so that we don't get too much of the wood coming through and turning it orangey red. We'll sort him out in a minute. Okay, cool. Let's do the let's let that dry a little bit. We'll get the black going now. Let's retouch up those black boundaries, black borders, and then we'll do his freckly face. It's going to lighten that up a bit. poke through. Touch up his eyes. His head looks rough. The superpowers are in the freckles. That's it. Sass and Janice look like the real McCoys. The other three clowns are done and dusted. Now we need a bit of white through Percy, right? We've got some white spots. Is that right? Or white freckles, or white little patches. What do we got through Percy? Of white on Percy, no dots. Patches and streaks. Okay. Patches and streaks. Racing stripes. Cool. Give that little turkey some racing stripes. The dorsal on Vavoom. Is he black? What colour is Percy's dorsal? Just outline it? Yeah, it's outlined. You're sort of looking down on it. It's like it's there, but it's not sort of fanned out or anything. Sassafras. Janice has got a big flary. She's all show, this girl here. Dorsal is orange. That's Percy. The dorsal is orange. Okay, cool. I will outline it, yes. Percy, excellent. He's got his orange flary Larry flares and he's got his white stripes and he looks like a really badly put together 66 Mustang. But he rocks. They all have whiskers, okay. Do we just give him a couple of little whiskers? I don't want to go too detailed only because they are cartoonish. He looks like he's got a very bad 1970s Macho Man moustache. But anyway. There you go. They've got their little whiskers. That's as far as we're going to go. Little coy with their moustaches. Now we're going to paint these guys here. I need some green. We're going to get these flowers going here. Lily pads and what have you. Let's get some green. I'm glad you find it funny, Willie. Seriously. I'm doing kooky stuff like this. I need to make some pink. What color are your lily flowers? Water lilies. Are they pink? Are they white? We're going to go with pink. I really don't care what color they are. I'm just asking. I hate frogs. Pulling them out of the pond immediately. I'd hate to be a frog in that pond. Excellent. It's quite salmony. I'm going to add a touch of blue and get a little bit of purple going, like a very slight lilac, because that's very coral coloured there. So I'm going to grab a little bit of blue, and it should do the trick. And I've dropped a big dollop of white paint on there. It's gone. Reddish pink tint. Okay, cool. I'm going to make them bright as. I'm going to experiment. Yeah, it's okay. We're just going to do generic. We're just going to do generic. We're just going to do generic lilies and lily pads. I'm going to put a little flower in there and mix this up first. See what we get. There we go. That's a bit pinkier, a bit more on the pinky side. Just about right, I think. Almost. Let's see if we can replicate. Are they white? I think they're white, aren't they? Reddish pink tint. I'm gonna go with a white. Ah, crap. I've just got a little idea. Yeah, yeah. Lily pads grow in clusters. I get it. I put another one in there. Let's see what we got. Found a snake in the bog eating frogs. That's what you want. Elvis does an entourage. There they are. That's it. We're done. Let that guy dry. They're our little happy friends doing their thing. Now, how accurate that is, God only knows. But this is a representation of Willie's kooky pond, and that's going to complete the cartoon or the comic strip, the comic guitar. So, how comical it is, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. How ridiculous is it? Very. You can count on that. It's all good. What time is it? I've got to head off soon, so let's have a look at now. I'm going to fix that router bit that spun. I'm going to get that guy going, test out this afternoon, hopefully have that done so we can do the calf tomorrow. I will be back then to carry on. Let me just quickly have a look and see who's on. You like it, Rage? Rage, how you doing? Good to see you. Woohoo! Brilliant. Leslie, you are funny, but I appreciate you. Good job, Terry. Thank you. No, good job to you. Grey Dog, thank you for the 100 bits. You are awesome, but you knew that. You're a good guy. I'm going to have a drink right now because I'm thirsty, as they say. I'm thirsty. So we'll do that while I find out who's online and who we can raid. Come on, machine. Okay. Let's get our water going. Matey Burrows is on. Asus is on as well. Cheers, big ears. He's looking up your old address. Thank you, Nifty. Willie, thank you very much. Look, it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. We're going to go to Asus. I haven't rated him for a while. He's got a giveaway going, so check it out, guys and girls, if you want to see what he's up to. See if that works. Yep, it's working. Okay, guys, I'll be back again tomorrow for sure. You can count on that. We're going to start looking at putting some oil on this guy tomorrow. So until then, this is Manny from the Guitar Show. Look after each other and be good to one another as well. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.